My fiancé slept with my best friend the night before our wedding. Hey Reddit, I never thought I'd be the one typing out a relationship horror story, but here I am, absolutely gutted, and honestly not sure what else to do with myself. I, 28 years old, male, was supposed to get married this weekend to the love of my life, Jess, 27 years old, female. We've been together 5 years, college sweethearts, best friends, inseparable. People used to say we were annoyingly perfect for each other, and honestly, I believe them. And then there's my best friend Mason, 28 years old, male. We've known each other since we were 6, played on the same soccer team, survived high school together, and even moved into our first crummy apartment as roommates. Jess and Mason got along like a house on fire, which I always thought was a blessing. My two favorite people, the family I chose. Leading up to the wedding, everything felt right. Jess and I spent months planning every detail together. I remember picking out flowers and cake flavors while she laughed and said, "This is our forever." My mom kept hugging me, crying about how lucky we were to have found each other so young. Mason was my best man. He even organized the bachelor party, which was honestly pretty tame. Or so I thought. We had the rehearsal dinner the night before. Everyone was buzzing, taking selfies. My dad made this embarrassing speech, Jess squeezed my hand under the table, and Mason gave me his classic wink. I remember thinking, I am the luckiest guy alive. Little did I know that by the next morning, my entire world would be upside down. The morning of the wedding, I woke up early, way before my alarm. Nerves, excitement, just this restless energy in my chest. The house was quiet, sunbeams sliding across the floor. I made coffee, stared at my suit hanging up, and checked my phone. Dozens of congrats, texts, one from Jess, "Can't wait to marry you. I love you." I smiled, feeling like nothing could ruin this day. Around 8 a.m., Mason showed up. He looked tired, with dark circles under his eyes, but he just grinned and said, "Did you even sleep, dude?" We joked around, and he handed me a little box, a pair of engraved cufflinks, initials, and the wedding date. "For luck," he said. I hugged him, feeling this massive wave of gratitude for having such a solid friend. My groomsman arrived, just was getting ready with her girls at the hotel, and everything was on schedule. I didn't notice anything off. Or maybe I just didn't want to. Even when Mason kept checking his phone, stepping outside a lot, honestly, I just figured he was stressed or handling wedding logistics. At noon, Jess's sister Megan texted me, asking if I'd seen Jess's phone charger. I said no, but offered to bring mine over. Megan replied with a simple, "Never mind, found it." At the time, it didn't mean anything. The hours blurred. Photographers arrived, and family buzzed everywhere. It felt like a dream, like the first real chapter of my life was about to begin. If only I'd known the story was about to take a very dark turn. The first sign that something was wrong happened so fast, I almost missed it. I was straightening my tie when Megan called. Not texted, but called me. Her voice sounded weird, shaky. She just said, "Can you come to the bridal suite? Please. Alone." No explanation. My stomach twisted, but I told the guys I'd be back in a minute. When I got to the suite, Megan met me at the door, biting her lip, glancing back over her shoulder. Inside, Jess was sitting on the bed, pale, staring down at her hands. The rest of her bridesmaids were nowhere to be seen. "Is everything okay?" I asked, my voice all nervous energy. Jess looked up at me, and I swear I'll never forget her expression, eyes red and glossy, like she'd been crying for hours. Megan hovered awkwardly by the door. The room was thick with tension, and for the first time, I felt real fear. Jess tried to speak, but her voice broke. "I have to tell you something," she whispered. I sat down next to her, my mind racing through every possible scenario. Cold feet. Maybe she lost a ring, some family drama? Never, not in a million years, what she said next. "There's something you need to know before we get married. I made a mistake last night. With Mason." My heart stopped. The room spun. I couldn't breathe. All I managed was, "What do you mean, with Mason?" But deep down, I already knew. Jess broke down sobbing. Megan looked like she wanted to disappear. My brain went static, but the words just kept echoing with Mason. "I'm so sorry," Jess choked out, clutching a tissue like it was a lifeline. It was after the rehearsal. We'd all been drinking, everyone left, and Mason, he stayed to help me clean up. We talked, and I don't even know how it happened, but it did. "I can't believe it, I'm so sorry." I never meant. I stared at her, trying to process the words, the way her makeup was smeared, her hands shaking. My best friend. My fiancée. The night before our wedding. Megan stepped in, her voice trembling. She told me this morning. She didn't want to lie to you. I made her promise she'd tell you before the ceremony. For a second, I just sat there, numb. Then everything hit at once. Betrayal, anger, humiliation, heartbreak. My mind flashed through every memory with Jess and Mason. Their inside jokes. The way she hugged him at the engagement party. I'd trusted them both with my whole life. All I could do was ask, was it just last night? Has this happened before? Jess shook her head, crying harder. No, never. I swear, it was a stupid, drunken mistake, and I wish I could take it back, please. I love you. I don't want to lose you. I stood up, dizzy, fists clenched. Part of me wanted to scream. Part of me wanted to run. I'd never felt pain like this. I just asked, where's Mason? Already dreading the answer. Megan pointed toward the hallway, and before I could even think, my feet were moving. I stepped out, slamming the door behind me, and found Mason pacing by the elevators, his phone pressed to his ear. He looked up, saw my face, and his own went sheet white. He hung up without a word. Mason, I said, and my voice sounded foreign, barely controlled. Is it true? He just stared at me for a second, guilt written all over him. Then, finally, he nodded. I'm so sorry, man. I was drunk. We both were. It meant nothing. I swear to God, it meant nothing. I laughed, this bitter, ugly sound I barely recognized. Nothing? You slept with my fiancé the night before my wedding. My best friend. The words tasted like poison. He ran his hands through his hair, desperate. It was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to happen. Please, don't do this. Don't let it ruin everything. Don't let it ruin everything. I snapped, voice rising. You ruined everything. You two did. A few people were peeking out of doors now. Family, groomsmen, strangers. I could see confusion, concern. But all I could focus on was Mason, looking utterly destroyed, and this sickening feeling that I'd never actually known either of them. I turned away, shaking, Mason's voice trailing behind me. Please, let me explain, let me fix this. I didn't stop. I couldn't. My life had split in two, and I was standing in the wreckage, wondering if I'd ever feel whole again. Somehow, word spread. Maybe it was my shaking hands, or maybe Megan told someone, but by the time I got back to my room, the wedding party was buzzing like a kicked beehive. My mom was in the hallway, confused, worried. She grabbed my arm, searching my face. What happened? Why aren't you with Jess? I couldn't speak. Not really. I just shook my head, and before I knew it, my dad and Jess's parents were there too. Questions flew. Someone said, is the wedding off? My heart thudded so loudly I could barely hear. Mason showed up, face red and pleading, but my dad stepped between us. You need to leave, he said, his voice colder than I'd ever heard. People were whispering now, rumors flying through the hall. Jess's mom rushed to the bridal suite, Megan at her heels. I overheard someone say, she did what with whom? Like this was just another piece of gossip, not the worst moment of my life. I finally said the words out loud. Jess slept with Mason. Last night. Silence, then a collective gasp. My mom started crying. My dad swore under his breath. I felt a wave of shame, humiliation crawling under my skin. The guests started arriving, unaware of the bomb that had just detonated. My phone blew up, calls from Jess, texts from Mason, messages from confused friends. My groomsmen were trying to figure out what to do. The wedding coordinator asked if she should hold the ceremony. I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my suit, realizing the life I'd imagined was over before it even started. I couldn't hide in my room forever. Eventually, I forced myself out into the lobby, where Jess was waiting with her mom and Megan. She was still in her robe, eyes swollen, hands trembling. I could feel everyone's eyes on us as we stood facing each other. This was no longer private. Please, Jess begged, her voice hoarse. Can we just talk? I need you to understand it meant nothing. I was drunk, and I don't even know how it happened. I was stressed, scared. Her mom tried to step in. You both need to calm down. Maybe this was a mistake, but you've built a life together. I cut her off, voice shaking. A mistake is forgetting the rings. Not cheating with my best friend hours before our wedding. Mason showed up, refusing to leave. Just let me say something, he pleaded. You have every right to hate me. But Jess was hurting. You two argued at the rehearsal dinner, remember? I was just trying to help. Things got out of hand. I stared at him, stunned. Don't blame this on me. You're both adults. You made a choice. Our family started to argue, trying to cover it up, make excuses, even suggesting we postpone instead of cancel. It turned into a shouting match, parents, siblings, even a few friends trying to smooth things over or pick sides. Through the chaos, I realized nobody was going to make this right except me. No one could fix what they broke. It was my life, my choice. For the first time, I felt a spark of clarity through all the pain. As the shouting escalated, someone, I think it was Mason's sister, burst into tears and ran outside. A few guests, now clued in, left quietly, avoiding eye contact. Every time I met someone's gaze, I felt a new sting of humiliation. I stepped away from the arguing families, into the hallway, and called my oldest friend from childhood, Ryan. He answered on the first ring, no small talk, just, "Man, what do you need?" I choked up. "I can't do this, Ree. I can't marry her. I can't even look at either of them." He didn't hesitate. "Then don't. Don't let anyone guilt you into this. You deserve better." Somewhere down the hall, I could hear Jess crying, her mom still pleading for another chance, Mason's voice apologizing on repeat. But all I felt was empty, like I was watching my own life from outside my body. I went to the venue coordinator and told her the wedding was off. She looked at me, stunned, then nodded, compassion in her eyes. We started calling guests, me, my parents, and Megan. Some were already at the venue, excited and clueless. Telling them felt like ripping off 100 Band-Aids, each one more painful than the last. My dad hugged me for the first time in years. "We're proud of you." It takes guts to walk away. As the news spread, I felt relief begin to fight its way through the devastation. My world had been blown apart, but at least I had a say in how the pieces would fall. By evening, the wedding that was supposed to be the happiest day of my life had turned into the most public disaster I'd ever experienced. Family and friends who'd flown in from across the country either quietly checked out of their hotels or came by my room to offer condolences and hugs. A few mutual friends looked stunned, unsure which side to take, while others immediately rallied around me. Jess texted me dozens of times, begging to talk, apologizing, telling me she loved me, that we could fix this together. Mason sent a single, long message, apologizing, explaining, saying he never deserved my friendship. I blocked them both. I knew any answer would only reopen the wound. I found out later there'd been whispers about Jess and Mason being too close for months, but nobody had said anything. A couple of friends admitted they'd noticed weird tension between them at the engagement party, at group dinners. Maybe I'd been blind. Or maybe I just wanted so badly to believe in my happy ending. That night, alone in my hotel room, I stared at my suit and the empty vows I'd planned to say. The life I'd built in my head was gone. I cried until there was nothing left, anger, grief, humiliation, all tangled up in the sheets. But somewhere deep down, a tiny voice reminded me, this wasn't my shame to carry. I'd been loyal, honest, and brave enough to walk away from people who didn't deserve my trust. I still had that, even if everything else had changed. The days after felt surreal, like the world had stopped and I was the only one left moving. People called, messaged, and checked in. My parents insisted I stay with them for a while. I agreed, needing comfort I hadn't wanted since I was a kid. Even Ryan came by, bringing junk food and distraction. I let myself grieve. Jess kept trying to reach out, even showed up at my parents' house once, but my mom sent her away. Mason disappeared from our group chats, our lives. I deleted old photos, packed up reminders of a future that no longer existed. I started therapy because I realized I needed help making sense of all the trust that had been broken, just in Jess and Mason, but in myself for not seeing the signs. And, slowly, the pain eased. I realized my worth wasn't defined by someone else's betrayal. I had the right to demand honesty, respect, and real love. The world didn't end. I just got a new beginning, one I didn't ask for, but maybe needed. If you're reading this and you're in pain, if someone ripped the ground out from under you, please don't settle for less than you deserve. Walking away doesn't mean you failed. It means you value yourself enough not to let betrayal become your story's ending. I won't pretend I'm over it, but I'm healing. I have good friends and a family who remind me of what real love looks like. Someday, I'll trust again. Until then, I'll keep building a life that belongs to me, honestly, on my terms. Thanks for reading, Reddit. I never wanted to write this story, but if it helps someone else, maybe it was worth sharing.